1, 2. Yeah.
Is yours controlled?
Test.
Yeah. Just can't hear the effects.
Were they yellow shorts? Oh, yellow. Okay. I didn't see. They're wearing all yellow between them. Well, yeah. Hayden's guys come in late on Hayden. He's got up. Smacked it with Hayden's Yes, they're not. No, she's not here. She's not playing here. No problem. they're out.
Let's go.
Saturday afternoon crunch time in NPL Victoria. 3 simultaneous kickoffs across the state, each of which with the potential to have their own unique say on the final chapters of season 2024 in NPL Victoria. The scene that awaits us at Petty's Reserve is absolutely no exception, where the home side, Manningham United Blues, need points, and they need them now as they look to avoid the potential threat of finishing in the bottom 2, which could, still stressing could, see them relegated in their first season of NPL Victoria. They face a stern test, though, where picking up points are concerned. A Heidelberg United side visiting Petty's Reserve today for the first time, still basking in the afterglow of their monumental win in extra time against Central Coast Mariners in the Australia Cup in midweek. There's been a fair bit of football in the legs of John Anastasiadis' 11, and he has swung a handful of changes, but they still need the points desperately as they look to finish as high as they possibly can to round out the campaign heading into finals. Here's the desperate Manningham outfit up against the Heidelberg United side, who haven't put many feet wrong this season, not least in their last meeting, which saw Heidelberg win 5-0. But all of their losses this season, Heidelberg, have been on the road. They've found the going a little bit tougher away from Olympic Village, and maybe, just maybe, that opens the door, leaves it ajar for a desperate Manningham United side. We know that anything can, and indeed has happened at many times this year at Petty's Reserve, and Manningham will be hoping that that springs true once again today. It should be a great contest in the Saturday afternoon sunshine. Lockie Flanagan joined today by Nick Dabano. Hello, Nick.
Hello, Lockie. It's a massive, massive afternoon of football. It couldn't be any more simple for Manningham. They need points. Anything, a point or 3 points will keep their hopes alive. We stress for at least potentially 24 hours. They'll be still watching on nervously tomorrow to see how the game between St Albans and Green Gully plays out. But they want to give themselves a chance heading into the final day, but their final home game of the season, Lockie, where, to be honest, at home, they've had a lot of joy as of late.
There was a bit of contention leading into kickoff regarding the similarity of shorts colouring here at Petty's Reserve. Obviously, Manningham in the navy blue shorts with a sky blue kit, while Heidelberg in their traditional yellow and black. And a few, not new faces, Nick, but certainly some changed faces, some freshened legs from that midweek result for the Burgers. 3 changes, I believe.
Yeah, a number of players coming in as well. Just wait a moment. Heidelberg building already. Ball fed through, and it's cleared away by Alex Castiello. Yeah, into the side today, Lockie. No Jamal Ali, no Anthony Lesiotis. Out of the squad completely today, as well as Jaden Gorman from the squad that played the Central Coast Mariners. But into the starting lineup, the man who did score the third goal in extra time, the sealer, Sean Ellis, along with Anthony Theodoropoulos, Kane Shepherd, Dominic Fala and Leo Mazur. So a handful of changes. Sabit Nyor, Josh Pinn and Asahi Yokokawa all on the bench today. So John Anastasiadis, you know, backing in the players waiting in the wings and giving a few players who put in a big shift on Wednesday night a deserved sort of break tonight. Not to say that they're taking Manningham lightly by any stretch, because they're definitely not. But, you know, they obviously don't want to risk injury at this stage of the season, Lockie, where, of course, it's a big game for them because we know that they're still playing for seeding in finals. They want to lock in a home final, and today, if they can get 3 points, they get a little bit closer to that. Here's Mazes. Amazing run inside the box there from Leo Mazes. He's still going. Plays it centrally, and it's Kane Shepherd who got the shot away, and it took a deflection. In fact, no, it didn't. It's out for a goal kick. So, early opportunities for the Burgers.
I mean, what a great luxury for John Anastasiadis to have. The fact that players like Kane Shepherd and the Heidelberg United legend that is Sean Ellis are just coming off the Pine. Ellis making, I believe, just his 8th start of the season in 2024. And, of course, Leo Mazes as well. Any changes from that Manningham side, which really, I think, set a few eyebrows shooting upwards in the last week of football, which was a while ago now. Of course, we had the break for the Doherty Cup, but that 4-2 win against Dandenong City on the road really helped keep the spark of hope alive for the Blues.
Yeah, well, at the time when they won, they were within a point again of St Albans when they beat Dandy City, only their second win away from home all year. But they've made 2 changes coming into the starting lineup is Paul Quoll and Giannis Georgopoulos. No Mohamed Al-Sadi out of the squad entirely, and as well Kurt Kwaku dropping to the bench today. So a little bit more of an attacking sort of outlook by bringing in Georgopoulos for Kwaku, who's had a few injury problems this year, but it's a very strong 11 again, named by Manningham. They've been very good at home this season, Lockie. It's where they've had a lot of joy here. Of course, their last meeting at this very venue, a 3-3 draw with Moreland City, which I think at this stage, Lockie, when you're looking at points left on the table, that one in particular is one that really stands out, you know, conceding a late equaliser in that one.
Beautiful first couple of touches by Sean Ellis. And eventually he's able to sucker the Manningham United defence into conceding a free kick. Ugo Arslan, the referee today. The man in the middle. Yeah, each of Manningham's last 3 games have had 6 goals at least. We don't know what the result will be today. It's a tough one to predict because of the changes and the desperation for points for Manningham, but I just feel like it's going to deliver in some way, shape or form.
So Sean Ellis standing over this free kick. The Burgers legend who helped go over the line against the Mariners during the week. Falls to Mazes on the volley, and it just fizzed past the post. And Leo Mazes already having a big impact early, Lockie. I mean, into the starting lineup today and looking to take his opportunity in the side, and fell to him quite nicely inside the box.
Yeah, he caught it quite sweetly, to be honest. He hit it flush. There wasn't a lot wrong with it off the boot. It just sailed a fraction wide, but yeah, a couple of testy moments for Manningham early doors. Not that we're expecting them to throw the kitchen sink straight up at Heidelberg from the off, but you know, we know they are a side that don't back down.
I think the credit to them this year, Lockie, despite, you know, coming up and a lot of people predicting them to be in a relegation scrap, they certainly, you know, they've certainly thrown their best punch. They've been a very attacking side. They haven't played on the back foot. They've looked to play their way, and you've got to respect it. I mean, you saw what they did to Avondale at this very venue earlier this season, which does feel like an eternity ago now, but they have the ability to shake up sides, and, you know, their attacking output this year has shown in some of these games, especially here where they led against South Melbourne. They beat Avondale. They, you know, pushed Hume City, and they obviously beat Dandy City, who were in 6th. So, you know, they've had some pretty good showings this year. It's just been the lack of consistency, I think, which has really let them down, and probably their form away from Petty's Reserve.
Well, of their 18 points this season, 12 of them have come here at home. And they picked up a lot of those points early in the season as well, Nick, particularly when the artificial surface was a condition to which NPL Victoria sides were still adjusting. And particularly, I think, when the heat was making an impact as well. So I wonder, it's certainly a warmer day today. It's not, heat's not driving down, but it is toasty. Well, I wonder if that might play a factor, especially for a Burger side who, as we've discussed, have played a lot of football in the last week and a half.
Well, it's only about 18 degrees, but that sun is just beaming down on us. And you can imagine what it's like for the players on the field. I mean, calling a few games earlier this year and having the conversation with, a few of the co-commentators when the mercury was a bit more towards 30 degrees. Imagine what it'd be like being out there on the pitch. The artificial turf, how warm it gets when it's sunny.
Well, the heat reflects off the surface, really. You don't get a lot of respite.
No, absolutely not.
Here is Mohamed Aidara. What a fantastic performance he had against the Mariners. Arguably the Burgers' best player. Deemed fit to start from the get-go today. Zara, the Heidelberg captain. Neat little link-up. Two legends combining in the form of Sean Ellis. That time doesn't have the beating of Ali Turgut, but Heidelberg will maintain their pressure through the throw. Great to see Sean Ellis in the starting fold today. That one coming to nothing from Leo Marzis. It really is a triple treat in NPL Victoria today, isn't it, Nick? We've of course got Oakley and Moreland. That's probably the third banana of the day, but still important points up for grabs for Oakley in particular. Let's not forget that Heidelberg, if they win today, could leapfrog Oakley if that result doesn't go their way. But the big fish alongside this one, certainly that potential premiership decider out at Avenger Park.
Well, I think from a Heidelberg persuasion, Lockies, they've just won a free kick here on the edge of the box. They'd be hoping for South Melbourne to record points against Avondale and come away with the wings. It would actually keep Heidelberg's hopes of finishing the top two alive, at least give them a chance heading into the final day. But yeah, a lot of action. And as well, over at Northcote today, Lockie, I mean, Melbourne Victory looking to seal promotion to the top tier. So it could be a day of celebration for a few different teams in the Victorian football pyramid.
It's a wonderful time of the year. All the consequences start to rattle into games. All that impact this fixture. It is Heidelberg with the early knockings. It's a beautiful delivery from Ellis. Kept alive at the top of the box by Olsen, and it's caught Alex Castiello in the unmentionables. What's the decision here? Corner ball for Heidelberg United, and Alex Castiello will return to full fitness very shortly, but those ones don't sting. He's one of a number of former Heidelberg players, actually, who are in the Manningham United squad today.
Yeah, Giannis Georgopoulos as well. Hayden Brown, who, of course, was keeping for Heidelberg for a portion of last season.
Yeah. Ellis's delivery is really nice. Federhajic contested, and then it's a big up and under boot. And it was last off the man in the middle, Dumfalla.
I don't think it's too surprising, Lockie, to see that Heidelberg are on the front foot early and probably looking to, get the lead early and really put themselves in a commanding position. Of course, they have played a lot more football than Manningham in the last 2 weeks, and, such a short turnaround after playing against the reigning A-League men champions. I mean, this is a really tough proposition for them. Of course, we did mention they have rotated players, but, the longer this game goes on, the tighter it is. You'd almost back Manningham, given that they have had a lot more rest. This is their first game in, 15 days? It's been, they played, on the 26th of July was their last game against Anderson.
And it's not quite an apples to apples comparison, but you saw the effect that the extra probably 10, 11, 12 days rest had for Heidelberg in their efforts to snuff out a Mariners side, albeit a Mariners side at the start of their pre-season progression. But even so, that big break can make a big difference. Souza has judged that one well.
Follow with a switching ball to Zara. Centrally towards Kane Shepherd, and he's the meat between the sandwich there between Dower Cole and Giannis Georgopoulos, and it's actually going to be going in Manningham's favour. A free kick to the Blues. Of course, the last time these two teams met, Heidelberg winning 5-0 at Olympic Village, a comprehensive win at home. In fact, that was the last game that Josh Pinn scored in the league. He hasn't scored in the league since that game. Of course, he scored a brace in midweek against the Mariners.
The previous goals before that, I think, were against Bentley on the 11th of June. So it's been a slightly slower start for him in the second, or slower going in the second half of the season. But
it's his sort of, his goal tally hasn't, sort of rocketed in the second half of the season. A lot of other players have started to really get involved. Look at Asahi Yokokawa, Sabit Nyor in the last few weeks as well, starting to get on the scoreboard. I mean, Sabit Nyor is a player, if you haven't watched him at home, he's a player to certainly watch when you expect his number will be called at some stage in this game. He's had such an amazing impact at Heidelberg in a short period. And I mean, I'd be curious, Lockie, if you've actually got the numbers for his goal to assist average now in minutes, because he was going at quite a high clip going into at least the game against the Mariners.
I do have it still just with league minutes factored in. He's played 5 games so far, 3 goals, 2 assists, total of 199 minutes. So by my maths, I think he's going at a contribution to goal every 38 minutes as Ellis drives the ball towards Leo Marzis, who might get a second crack here. He did, and he blazed it over the bar, but hope not lost for Heidelberg. It's a corner. Not entirely sure how, but it is a corner.
I think it took us very slight deflection off Ali Turgut just on the way through. It's been interesting to see, Lockie, from a Manningham perspective for their defence this year. It's really been chopped and changed, especially at fullback. I mean, Ali Turgut is a natural central midfielder. It's been turned into a fullback more due to necessity, because they've had so many fullbacks either leave the club or be out with injury this season. Corner whipped in centrally, and it's pinballed around for a moment, but it's out for a goal kick. So Manningham having to do a bit of early defending. Heidelberg on the front foot. 11.5 minutes played here at Petty's Reserve on this beautiful Melbourne Saturday afternoon. You know that spring's right around the corner when the weather's like this, Lockie. I mean, we start the year in February and it's beaming down. It's hot, it's sunny, and then, we go through those winter months, but finals football right around the corner. It feels like it's in the air when you come out to a game like this today.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Beatles song, Here Comes the Sun. This is the first time we've seen it in an NPL Victoria game in months. No complaints, though.
Usually when the sun's out, it's absolutely freezing, because it's usually accompanied by quite a chill. But today, beautiful weather out here at Petty's Reserve. As here's Alice looking to feed through Shepherd. Cole. Big challenge there from Dower Cole. Adara sweeps it up. Carter back to Tavella. Happy just to reset. Hayden Brown, the third different starting goalkeeper for Manningham this year. George Zamaranis was in the sticks for most of this season. Claudio Sikora as well. And Hayden Brown, ever since arriving from Altona Magic, has been the main man between the sticks over the last few weeks. Castiello. Tavella looking for Ben Everson. Collins did well to win the header. Olsen feeds it short to Shepherd. He's in shooting range. Feeds it off short to Marzis. Coming centrally, and well played there by Georgopoulos. And now a chance for Manningham to break. As the 1-2 with Ramirez. Now out wide towards Tuntus. Strong challenge and well defended there. All centrally towards Olsen, and getting back was Georgopoulos to mop that one up.
It's a pretty gung-ho challenger so far, Nick.
Absolutely.
That was one that Anthony Theodoropoulos had to get right. James Tuntus would have been all too happy, the opening scorer last week against Dandenong City, to gobble up that space in behind.
One matchup I'm very keen to see, Lockie, is the Battle of the Bends. Ben Collins v Ben Everson. I mean, Ben Everson's had an amazing season. 13 goals, equals second in the Golden Boot. In his first year in the top flight, we know what he's been able to do in VPL 1/MPL 2 for so many years, for Dandy City, Bulleen, Manningham at the end of last season. He's had just an incredible year, and incredibly enough, he could still win the Golden Boot this year. He's 3 off Harry Sawyer, of course. Harry Sawyer's still in a really good commanding position to take home his second NPL Victoria Golden Boot, but Ben Everson's been in some great form.
He really has. I actually couldn't believe it, Nick, when I was updating my stats in the lead up to this game. He's 37 37 years old, and he might be gambling on a loose opportunity here. He's still scrapping, but eventually Ugur Arslan, the referee, has taken exception to what I can only interpret from the body language of the referee was the potential use of a hand by Ben Everson. But I mean, 13 goals in your first season of top flight football in Victoria at 37 years of age, it's just remarkable. I mean, when you consider how he was going, he was only early into his career as a Manningham player this time a year ago, and was one of the crucial final pieces of the puzzle in getting them up to the top flight.
We had a bit of a tough time earlier at Brunswick Juventus at the start of last season when he made the move from Bulleen, and since making that move to Manningham, he's just been an incredible player.
I have crunched the numbers, Nick. If you put together his league appearances for Manningham across the two leagues, he has 27 goals across 32 games.
Wow. It's almost going at a goal a game, which is quite incredible.
Which would be mental enough for any player who's making the step up to NPL Victoria, but for a player who's 37...
Yeah.
So I promise, Ben, that's the last time I'll remind you of that fact if you're listening back. Well, Fowler has nearly turned into trouble. The likes of Quoll and Ramirez converged on him, but fortune favours the Burgers. Released on the far side through Zara. Fancy little nutmeg, but without any end product from Leo Marzis. And Brown roosts it over halfway. It's plucked well by Aiden Fedahajic.
Got to say, Lockie, looking at that Golden Boot race, Everson, Isgrove, Bourgeois,
it's a six-way tie, isn't it? It's incredible. Leo Marzis has been incredible so far in this game. He drives it towards goal, but Hayden Brown had the measure of the effort. Georgopoulos. A handful of former Burgers out there today. Alex Castiello, one of the others. For those who are playing at home. He was on the score sheet last week, was Alex Castiello for the first time this season. Just the second time in his NPL Victoria career. The other one of those, Nick, came against the Burgers last year for Altona Magic.
Might bode well for him today.
Yeah. Can you believe that goal scored on the 8th of April? That was the last time Heidelberg lost in the league at Olympic Village.
Wow. 8th of April 2023.
2023. It's been nearly 500 days since the last time they tasted defeat in NPL Victoria on their home turf.
That's why it's so important for them, Lockie, to lock in a home final.
Exactly.
Because, they don't want to have to travel to Hume or Oakley.
Second ball won nicely by Idara, and Sean Ellis is galloping through, looking to return the favour as well, but the touch was a heavy one. Ellis will have another crack. He sits down a defender, and still he goes. Sean Ellis manages to angle the ball in, and Shepherd blazes away with the goal. Face there to work with. He couldn't get his effort on target, but that was a brilliant run from Sean Ellis, and how he managed to find the cross on such a tight angle, Nick, I'm not entirely sure.
Well, throughout Sean Ellis's time at Olympic Village, he's done a lot of things that always have amazed us, and that right there just shows all his class. Beautiful bit of footwork there to find Kane Shepherd, and Shepherd, who has 9 goals this season, he's starting to, get himself involved in the game. He's had a bit of an interesting year. I mean, he's been in and out of the starting 11 as of late. He's played more as a number 10 this season as well.
This is his league return. He's missed the last couple of weeks for the Burgers. I believe some form of illness keeping him out. Down goes Jose Ramirez. And Fedahajic was nipping at his heels, and Razas has come up with the football momentarily. Ramirez splits the defence, sets a task for Everson, but it's just going to prove to be a bit too much. Yaron Souza able to gobble up the danger. Kept 11 clean sheets this season, the equal best alongside Javi Lopez.
Tell you what, he's created some great competition for that Goalkeeper of the Year award, which Javi Lopez has monopolised over the last couple of seasons.
Certainly been one of the important additional pieces of the puzzle in this John Anastasiadis Burgers side. No whistle from the referee. Ali Turgut continues unperturbed. And it goes for Georgopoulos from Quoll. And they may be going to have a little spell here, Manningham. Scooped in behind. To be the involvement of an arm against James Tuntis, who is on the turf in a heap. Ben Collins marches away from the scene of the incident totally unmoved. There was definitely some contact on display, Nick, but whether or not it was in any way intentional or just Ben Collins in motion, I think that remains to be seen.
I don't think there was too much in that one.
Just a quick update from elsewhere as well. Nick, cover your ears if you're planning to watch the games on catch-up, but Oakley lead at 1-0 against Moreland City at CB Smith. Still goalless in the potential premiership decider between Avondale and South after 20 minutes played, which is the same situation we've got here at Petty's Reserve. Manningham all square with Heidelberg as we get set to head into the 21st minute in the Eastern Suburbs. It's been an eminently watchable game so far.
It has. It's really been Heidelberg in control of the early stages, but still plenty of time for Manningham to turn this one around and start to get into a bit of a groove. We know that they can cause problems going forward as they win the throw-in here on the far side. Nice little crowd out here at Petty's Reserve for the final home game of the season for Manningham. Was held a President's Lunch earlier today as well, so the car park was absolutely chockers. Here's Marzis driving forward down the left. Turgott with a hip and shoulder to knock Marzis off the ball, and Quoll comes to support. Georgopoulos, it was a real task for him. Fala. Here's Olsen. He's in shooting position, and his pass is intercepted by a Cole. Tower Cole's had a solid start to this game in Castiello.
Just about to say the same thing.
Here's Quoll. Immediately shut down by Fowler. It seems like every time that Manningham look to break that there's just yellow jerseys everywhere, and they've done well to corral the Blues in the early going, not allowing them to get into that free ball movement. They're a very fluid sort of attacking side, Lockie. They, obviously at times they like to leave nothing to chance. They just like to go for it.
They certainly do. Such a composed unit. Ellis given one to chase once more. Not quite able to ride the line that time around in the battle with Marco Tavella.
Of course, the equation is simple, Lockie. Manningham do get a draw today. They'll be 3 points behind St Albans, and we're relying on Green Gully beating St Albans tomorrow at Churchill Reserve. Of course, Dinamo have won their last 4 games, all at home. Manningham do have a better goal difference than St Albans, but if Manningham do win, then a point between St Albans and Green Gully will also be helpful to keep them alive heading into that final game of the season at Paisley Park against Altona.
Well, even if St Albans won, it wouldn't be all over for Manningham. Gully would be
a
side potentially in danger.
They need to make up a big lot of goal difference in the weeks ahead. They'd have to win big today, they'd have to win big next week, and hope Gully lose big twice in a row. So a lot needs to go right if they're to overtake Green Gully. There's actually still a chance that both St Albans and Manningham could survive then.
Well, there's a chance because maybe only one is going down, Nick. We still don't know in the penultimate week. I believe it'll be 2, but hasn't been officially confirmed as yet. Unless you've got some breaking news.
No, I don't have an exclusive for you, mate. No scoops here.
I'll give you time to work your contacts in the halftime break.
Georgopoulos out wide to Marco Tavella. Finds Everson. Finally finds some space, the Englishman, but just not in the same wavelength as Tuntis, and his pass rolls straight through to Yaron Souza. And Everson, who has 13 goals to his name this season. Such an impressive year. Nice little run of form as well heading into this game. Scored a brace against his former side, Dandy City, last week. This very venue the last time he was here. Scored against Moreland City. The time before that, a hat-trick against St Albans. So he has scoring form at this venue, Lockie. He loves a goal at Petty's Reserve.
He certainly does, and he's scored some spectacular ones. 7 goals in his last 7 games for the Englishman as Olsen marches his way forward. Masters has got the beating of Turgott once more. He can cut in onto the right and shoot. And elected instead to try and turn provider for Dom Fowler. And the Manningham defence able to close ranks and pickpocket the ball right off the feet of Dominic Fowler. Lovely first touch once again from Marzis, who has been Heidelberg's best. Ellis does find Fowler this time. And Ellis took it off the feet of Kane Shepherd, cuts it back into the middle, tried to tee up the number 14, but nothing doing. And eventually Manningham can build their way out from a building piece of Berger's pressure. Everson around one with ease. And the second player, Adrian Zara, forced into the foul.
Just an update from Avenger Park, and if you don't want spoilers, cover your ears now. South Melbourne 1, Avondale 0, Noel Banana on the score sheet. So right now, South Melbourne about to lock up their second piece of silverware in a week, and that opens up the door significantly for Heidelberg. At the moment, because Oakley are winning, they are into second, and Avondale dropping into third. But
if they won that game, Nick, where would this week, which has included an Australia Cup upset against Wellington Phoenix and a Doherty Cup win, where would that rank in the best weeks in South Melbourne history?
I think that's one for the historians, I reckon. I think be right up there.
They have to be up there, surely.
Up there with some of their moments in the club, playing in the Club World Cup, Lockie, and NSL championships in the past. Here's Everson. Switching ball to Ali Turgott. Spaced across. Straight towards Yaron Souza, and it's almost caught the former Mariners keeper off guard, and it's out for a goal kick. Ali Turgott was a bit of a miss hit in the end, but it almost worked out there for the number 33.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how he'd have reacted if that one had found the back of the net. I'm not sure how much celebrating there would have been, owing to a perhaps lack of intention to do what he did. But at the same time, Manningham will take a goal, especially if it was the opener against Heidelberg, whatever way they can get them. Well, gettable on the road, this Heidelberg side. As you've mentioned, they've lost all three of the games they've lost this season have been away from Olympic Village. Only scored a third of their goals on the road, but conceded 70% in their entire tally, which, mind you, has not been many. 21 all year. One of the best defences in the league. Collins fancies himself up against Tuntis.
Tuntis has to walk a bit of a tightrope today, Lockie, on 9 yellow cards for the season. So if he does get a booking, he'll miss that final game against Altona, and I believe it'll be a 2-game suspension. So would that mean he's ineligible for round 1 next year?
It's possible.
I think that's the rule.
He's already been sent off as well this season. Nick, am I remembering correctly that he was sent off while he was on the bench, perhaps? This is a nice patch of play, though, from Heidelberg United. In the middle for Ellis from Theodoropoulos, and Sean Ellis is looking to get the dancing feet going. A deflected shot. Just really took the sting out of it in the end, and diving down is Hayden Brown with ease. But you do not want to allow Sean Ellis too many looks on that magic left foot of his to chop inside and shoot. And it was a defensive intervention from the Blues away from being significantly more threatening to the goal of Hayden Brown. Feta Hajic didn't really like the look of that one in flight as it dropped towards him. Tuntis into the path of Ben Everson. He's in a bit of a cul-de-sac, and Theodoropoulos can rob him of possession. Olsen drops it down for Dominic Fowler. Certainly feels like it hasn't been reflected in the chances. Manningham really yet to have a shot. Game has evened up a fraction. That one's got too much steam for the reach of Leo Marzis.
Of course, Lockie, you mentioned just how big of a day of action it is. So many big 3 p.m. kickoffs today. The other one to keep an eye on is actually over at Larissa Reserve. North Sunshine against FC Melbourne Serbia, which is essentially for the premiership in VPL 2. So that one in of itself is going to be one to certainly keep an eye on. But of course, the promotion race in VPL 1's headed up with Preston and Northcote winning last night, and Victory just need a point to wrap up their spot back in the top tier, as Hayden Brown played into some pressure there. And of course, Western United play Bulleen at Ironbark Fields tomorrow as they look to keep their hopes of or getting themselves into the top flight for the first time alive. Manningham just happy to settle things a little bit. Close to half an hour here at Petty's Reserve. Still 0-0. Heidelberg very, very good defensive setup, not allowing Manningham to really get into too much of a groove going forward, as Theodoropoulos did well to snuff that play out, and Souza clears straight up the line. Shepherd and Castiello meet in the air, but Castiello comes up with it, plays it short to Everson. Heavy first touch, and Dominic Falla was given an avenue to chase that one down and did enough, and that goes all the way through to Yaron Souza.
They just look very professional today, Heidelberg, don't they? They just are doing everything, every task that's set for them with an air of composure.
Here's Kane Shepherd. Feels like they haven't really gotten out of second gear too much, the Burgers, but they've been in control of this game, but they're under a bit of pressure here. It's Castiello going on a little bit of an adventure. Collides into Collins. It actually works out here well for Quoll. Gets in behind Ben Collins. Chance here for the Blues. Cuts it back towards Everson, and Federhagic with a key intervention. Alex Castiello pushing the pace from defence, trying to turn provider. But it was well defended by that miserly Heidelberg defence.
Well, they did everything right in the preceding play, but for the eagle-eyed awareness of AJ. Aiden Federhagic spotted that cutback for Everson, who really was the standout figure in the box. Maybe Tuntis can try and test Yaron Souza, but the fast feet of James Tuntis, no match for the experienced head of Adrian Zara. His 201st, or 202nd rather, appearance for Heidelberg United. Brought up the big 200 against Hume City, just the 17th player to do so in the history of the club.
Absolute legend of these parts, Lockie.
He really is. Mohamed Aidara to the feet of Nicholas Olsen. It's one way then the other. And finds a nice little pass through the lines for Falla. Shepherd has dropped off the front line as the Burgers look to unpick this Manningham defence. Really playing themselves into trouble though, the Burgers. They'll come again, another crack through Zara.
Can't afford to switch off too much, Lockie, because they've been caught napping already once, and it almost led to that chance for Manningham. So they just can't afford to give too much space for this fleet-footed Manningham team to really get into a groove.
Yeah, and those second phases, when the ball gets lost, Nick, are so important, the 50-50s. For both sides, it feels like every time Heidelberg win in those moments and they pick up that possession, there's space for them behind the Manningham defence, and that's been a real problem. But the Blues certainly starting to grow in stature in this contest, and Everson is usually the man they look to. It's Ben Everson for Blues, and it is off target in the end, but it is really their first shot in anger of the afternoon, Nick, and I think Ben Everson would have loved to have gotten that one on target and forced Yaron Souza into a save, but in the grand scheme of things, George Karkaletsis may well see that as progress.
There's a good little play there from Everson, but here go Heidelberg going straight back the other way. Here's Zara. Marzis in support. And that hold does well to get across and not it out for a corner. But Lockie, you are right. I mean, Ben Everson just starting to get on the ball a little bit more. He put himself in a good position, and I don't think it was the worst idea to have a ping from range. We know he's got that certainly in his locker. We saw what he did here against South Melbourne earlier this year, where he scored from inside his own half. So it's certainly in his kick bag.
Nearly put the ball into the container deposit scheme here. Luckily, it's now retrieved for Leo Marzis.
Marzis now with the corner. Olsen offering short. A lot of space here, the former Brisbane Raw man. His cross is nodded behind again by a Cole and into the car park there at Petty's Reserve.
Got a little bit nervous for the windshield of that BMW there.
Standing out like a sore thumb. The last thing we need is a broken windscreen here at Petty's Reserve.
There's John Fontenos returning the ball to Leo Marzis. Jay Fott. He's a man for all seasons. He can do media work for the Burgers, and now he's a ball kid at Petty's Reserve.
Marzis again with the corner. Ball floated into the area, but it's nodded away by Castiello. Comes down here to Olsen. Takes deflection off of Cole. Nope, it looks like it actually just took a bobble off the ground in the end, and it's out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it was one of those shots, Nick, where it's kind of just at the reach of your boot. You know, it's almost toed a little bit.
Yep. It seemed like in that moment there for Nick Olsen actually set up quite well, but as you mentioned, Lockie, maybe just a little bit out of reach. Almost half-time here, Lockie, and I've got to say Manningham would be quite pleased with how things are going at the moment. Of course, they're desperate for points, but they've kept the Burgers at bay for now. Here's Shepherd. To take this game out of the balance heading into the break. Shepherd, well defended there by Alex Castiello. Very well played there by the veteran. 1-2 with Quoll. Now Everson. And Ben Collins does very well to deny the 37-year-old. And here go Heidelberg again. Ramirez with the interception. Georgopoulos switching ball to Tuntis. Cole went to ground off the ball there for a moment as central towards Georgopoulos. A heavy touch, and again the Heidelberg defence able to sort. They just get back with numbers, and there was just not enough blue shirts to support Giannis Georgopoulos there, and Heidelberg do enough to see this one away.
Anthony Theodoropoulos. Both of these sides would be desperate to take a 1-0 lead into the break. Heidelberg will get a set piece, much to the disappointment of Marco Tavella, who throws his arms into the afternoon air.
It's just an update from John Kay Memorial Park. Ooh. So for those who don't want spoilers, I don't think there's a stream of this game happening at the moment, so
no.
It might not be spoilers, but if you don't want spoilers anyway, listen, turn off, put us on mute for now. Victory
Just
leading
back on afterwards.
Victory leading 1-0 against Kingston City. Austin Ganino with the goal.
Oh, wait.
Of course, a point, Lockie. Even, of course, 3 points, enough to seal their place in the top flight.
Yeah, and Preston, if they win on the final day against Langwarrin, could be the side that joins them as well, if two are going up. We don't know yet.
Could be
Maybe
more.
Maybe more. Castiello. Tavella in the corner. Just to evade the closing Mohamed Aidara. A Cole. One of the standouts for Manningham in the first half, and he wants to go on a bit of an adventure. And keep himself forward as Turgott with a searching ball for Everson. And down goes Anthony Theodoropoulos under the challenge of Jose Ramirez. And the Colombian is going to be the first man into the book for the afternoon.
Tell you what, Lockie, that sun so aggressive. I mean, when it comes out here, the players will be feeling it out on the pitch. Even if it isn't the warmest of days, it's just when the sun is out, you know, as we know, the heat would be reflecting off the pitch as well. Quoll looking to get forward, goes to ground under the challenge of Allison. He wins his own ball back here, Quoll. Quoll going for goal, and it's just wide. Paul Quoll still looking for his first goal in Manningham colours, and that one was quite close there.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, we were talking before that earlier chance, the first of the afternoon for Manningham through Ben Everson, how annoyed he would have been not to get it on target. And they look to go again here, but this time it's comparatively easy pickings for Yaron Souza off the right boot of Giannis Georgopoulos. Yeah, Everson would have been disappointed not to get his on target. They are starting to dial in the range because Qualls was off target too, but a whisker wide. And Georgopoulos on target, but lacking conviction. They've got all the pieces there from those three shots. They just need to combine it all into one. But look, I don't mind the approach of having a pop from distance. I mean, Manningham have scored some great goals this season, and this Heidelberg back four is a very tricky one to breach. So, you know, why not give something for Yaron Souza to think about if the space opens up ahead of you? Theodoropoulos composed. Into the middle for Idara. Shepherd won't get there. Tuntis in first, and really great work from James Tuntis, who's helping to inject the energy into the Manningham defence, as Ben Everson can return the favour, or at least look to, against James Tuntis. And there's another foul conceded by Manningham's yellow card friendly number 8. Looking to avoid a 10th this season, and I don't think he's going to. You can see Ugur Arslan pointing out all the different infringements. And James Tuntis has picked up yellow card number 10 of the season.
Yep, so he's suspended for next week, Lockie, so he'll be out for that game against Altona. So changes certainly in the offing for George Karkaletsis already for next week. They are without Mohamed Al-Sadi, who's part of their attacking core, but Tuntis will miss that game at Paisley Park next week, which still could have a big say on Manningham's hopes for survival this season. Zara, lovely ball over the top looking for Ellis, and almost a bit of a mix-up there. Brown, a bit confused for a moment there, Hayden Brown, but did well to play to Tavella, and Tavella clears it out for a throw-in.
You don't see that very often from the goalkeeper, just plucking it with the boot out of the sky. I don't think he necessarily expected his touch to be that good, Hayden Brown. Didn't know what to do with himself afterwards. He might be under pressure here again. Leo Marzis. 1-2 with Olsen was excellent. Now the ball into the middle is begging for a touch. It didn't get one. And Turgott keeps it from going out for what would have been, I imagine, a Heidelberg corner. They haven't really dialed in those deliveries, but for one from Sean Ellis so far today, Nick. That was probably the most tantalising cross of the day from the Burgers outfit.
Just wonder what sort of changes will be in the offing at half-time, Lucky. I mean, we know that Heidelberg have a lot of talent waiting in the wings when you look at Joshua Pinn, Asahi Yokokawa, Sabit Nyor. Manningham, if they're going to go for this game, they still have the youngsters, really, in Jamie Christophilos, who's in the squad for the first time this year, but has banked in the goals in the under-23s this season, and Lucas Herovim as well. And the rest of them, all sort of defensive players like David Morabu, Kurt Kwaku, and Owen Dufton. So it's fascinating to see what sort of changes we see from both sorts of managers in chase of what is a crucial 3 points.
Well, it speaks to the strength of Heidelberg United squad this season, that they can have Jamal Ali, Anthony Lesiotis, and Jaden Gorman all out of the squad entirely today, and their bench still consists of the likes of Sabit Nyor, Asahi Yokokawa, and Josh Pinn. Of course, Nick Stefanidakis and Ethan Sardellis also available to John Anastasiadis should he need them. And Sardellis would be coming on for his senior Heidelberg United debut.
Yeah, great moment for the both of them to get an opportunity at this stage of the season. Of course, you know, that this Heidelberg team has been such a well-oiled unit this year, and the other players missing as well. You know, no Apostolopoulos, no Owen Ashton, so they do have a few absentees today, so it's opened up the door for a few of the players from the 23s to get a chance. I mean, we've seen them loan out Benny Devine to Eastern Lions, who was in great form for the under-23s, and goes to show there is a lot of quality in the ranks here at the Burgers this season.
Nicolaides, one of the other injured players. Zara has put it into a dangerous area, but Theodoropoulos at full stretch, able to keep it free from Paul Quall. But Turgott has picked up the pieces, and now it's James Tuntis looking to cut into the left or cut it into the middle, but Ben Collins was best placed, and the Burgers repel the danger once again. But it is a threat from Manningham that is growing as we get towards the halftime interval. Stefanidakis would also be coming on for his Heidelberg League debut as well. We've seen him once on the bench before this season against Avondale. Great first touch from Anthony Theodoropoulos. Shepherd on the right in support. Bash and crash from Alex Castiello.
Alex Castiello's put in one hell of a shift to start this game.
Well, both central defenders, I think, have been very, very good. Cole has really caught the eye too.
I mean, defence has sort of been the Achilles heel for Manningham this season, so the way they've been able to marshal this Heidelberg defence so far, has been very impressive.
1 minute added on by the fourth official, Priya Gadirian, which is interesting because the scoreboard here at Petty Reserve currently reads 44 minutes flat.
Unless maybe the
So I
scoreboard he started
don't
a
know
little bit
whether
late,
the
not
fourth
sure, yeah.
official has gone the early crow or the scoreboard attendant was running late for work. I'm not sure which, but either way, we are in the final knockings of the first 45.
I think Manningham will be hoping that this is the final minute and we're firmly into stoppage time.
I would be more inclined to trust the referee this time around.
I think that as well, it'd be such a nice surprise just seeing, you look at the scoreboard, you're like, geez, got to defend for an extra minute, but then you realise that, we're actually a minute forward. It's like daylight savings. Free kick opportunity, though, for Heidelberg. They'd be hoping to get the lead just before the break. Sean Ellis to take this one. All the tall timber forward, Federhagic and Collins. The ball is whipped into a dangerous position and it was flicked on. Was it off Federhagic? It was, and it's out for a goal kick. So Manningham can breathe a sigh of relief before the half-time interval and play the seconds before heading into the sheds.
Federhagic couldn't quite believe that it's not been awarded a corner for the visiting side. The quality of Sean Ellis's delivery. I know I've said it already today, Nick, but that was
beautiful.
It just cut through the air across the face of the defensive line for Manningham. You could watch a player send in balls like that all day long, honestly.
So that's the end of the first half here at Petty's Reserve. The score here is still 0-0. Manningham need a point to keep their hopes alive of survival at least for another 24 hours. But conversely for Heidelberg, they need 3 if they're going to get themselves in a position to compete for a home final. To put themselves in position to host a final in a couple weeks' time. There's been a few chances for both teams. Heidelberg started the stronger of the two teams, had a few opportunities to test the Manningham defence, but Manningham, as the half went on, they started to grow into it, had a few chances of their own, but things are set up beautifully for the final 45, Lockie.
Certainly are, and I think Manningham will quietly be absolutely rapt to take a level scoreline into the main break, the only break here at Petty's Reserve this afternoon, but just because Heidelberg, obviously that 120 minutes of football in midweek, we know they've got fit players and they've changed a few up, but it is going to bite at some point, and the longer Manningham can stay in the contest, can stay level, it might just open the door for them when Heidelberg do start to fatigue. So it's a really tantalisingly poised contest as we head into the second half.
Well, the equation is simple. Manningham need a point or 3 to stay alive for at least 24 hours in this relegation battle. Heidelberg need 3 to put themselves into 4th for the time being and jump Hume City on the ladder. Around the grounds quickly, South Melbourne leading 1-0 against Avondale. Oakley up 1-0 against Moreland City. South Melbourne win that game and they wrap up the premiership in what would be a great week for them. We'll be back in around 15 minutes' time for the second half. The score here, Manningham 0, Heidelberg United 0. Welcome back to Petty's Reserve for the second half of this round 25 NPL Victoria fixture. It is a classic six-pointer for both of these two sides. Manningham, quite simply, need points to keep their hopes alive of survival on this Super Saturday of action, while Heidelberg are hoping to get themselves in a position to host a final, which is all important considering they haven't lost at home all year this season. So it's all to play for in this second half. Still 0-0. You'd think with the stakes on the line, this game will certainly open up in the final 45. Nick Devano and Lockie Flanagan to take you through all the action for the final 45 minutes at Petty's Reserve this year as well. Lockie, we bid farewell to one of the new venues here in NPL Victoria, at least for this season. Manningham will be hoping that they'll be back here playing top-flight football next year, but they need a point or all three today to ensure that that dream stays alive. As we're underway here, no changes from George Karkaletsis or John Anastasiadis at the break, so both teams going in as they started this fixture, as I welcome Lockie Flanagan back into the call.
Well, the signs that they could get a point or three, Nick, from this game were growing for Manningham as they look to do it again for Ramirez. Oh, what a save. Yaron Souza at full stretch, tipping it away. And we've spoken it into existence, Nick. We're talking about how they started to put the pieces together for a potential opening goal. And most of it has been shots from distance like that, but that's the first one where they've got the combination of the right amount of power and purchase and on target as well. And Yaron Souza had to be at his best to repel that one away from Ramirez.
Can't afford to give Jose Ramirez that sort of space, Lockie. He has a goal in him. We know he's a former VPL1/NPL2 BNF winner a few years back, and we know he's got goals in him. So the last thing Heidelberg can do is it's not just to worry about the threat of Ben Everson, but Jose Ramirez, who can score and can score the spectacular. Theodoropoulos closed down there by Quoll. A great chance of his own in the first half to give Manningham the lead. Still looking for his first goal in Manningham colours since making the move from Kingston. Here's Shepherd. Colt as well to slow down Kane Shepherd. Adara switching it out wide to Alice, feeding it back towards Adara. Here's Alice, whips it into the area. Shepherd got a head to it, and it's out for a goal kick. Mo Adara and Sean Alice, Lockie, who on Wednesday night combined brilliantly for the sealer which sealed Heidelberg's place in the round of 16 of the Australia Cup. I mean, it's a shame that Aidara won't get an assist for it, because it was one of the great sort of dummies that led to Sean Ellis scoring that goal. I mean, you called it so beautifully on Wednesday night, but what a moment that was. What a beautiful bit of class from Mo Aidara.
Yeah, and it was a tricky one, because I feel like what a great moment it was from Sean Ellis initially, in the all-in celebrations thereafter almost overshadowed what a absolutely ice-cold piece of play it was from Mohamed Aidara, who is just such an incredibly gifted footballer. 34 years of age, but you wouldn't know it the way that he runs out games, he just never stops running, really. I imagine he runs home at the full-time whistle as well, as Olsen drives it towards goal, but it's regulation for Hayden Brown.
Well, we spoke to South Melbourne's Max Mikola earlier this year on the NPL Victoria pod, and he said that Aidara was, by a mile, the hardest opponent he's played against in this competition.
He's just such a hard player to get the ball off. He doesn't lose possession very often. He's got such a solid frame, which means that he can take it off you very easily and he can keep it from you very easily, which is a very tricky combination for a midfielder as active as he. I think the real mind-boggling thing is, Nick, I might come back to that in a second, is it's Leo Marzis on the drive for the Heidelberg United, but Cole comes up with the block once more. Turgott launches long, looking for the run of Ben Everson, but nothing doing. Feta Hadjic watched it all the way, albeit with the sun in his eyes. Tuntus takes quickly, but it's not going to count for anything. The throw will actually be going Heidelberg's way. The former Mouscron man, he's played in the top flight of Belgium before, Mohamed Aidara. This time...
Just about this time last year.
Yeah.
Going with this.
He was playing in State League 2 for Mill Park. After leaving Altona, not a single NPL Victoria club picked him up, which is just...
It's just incredible.
I mean, given he has come in mid-season of 2023 for the Burgers and arguably been one of their best players ever since, and I would argue is currently one of the top 3 midfielders in the competition, to think that he was playing, what, 5 leagues?
Fifth tier, yeah.
5 leagues below this one is... just boggles your mind. But I'm so glad that Heidelberg made the decision to bring him back, because he has repaid them in kind.
He was one of a trio of big signings for Heidelberg in that mid-season window. Of course, they did miss finals last year, coming in alongside Jamal Ali and Amir Abdallah. Jamal Ali, of course, absent today. Amir Abdallah now playing for Hume, but as you mentioned, Lockie, he's been a great signing ever since. Collins. Comfortable in possession here, the Burgers. Building up from the back through Feta Hadjic. Marzis coming centrally. Position here to shoot here, the former Dandy Thunder man, but his pass is intercepted, and now Manningham can break. Georgopoulos finds Quoll. He's in some space here. Everson making the run, and an opportunity here for Ben Everson if he can chase this one down. Brings it under his spell, looking to cut inside, but it's well defended by Ben Collins, who's a rock in the heart of the Heidelberg defence. Talking about great signings, he has been sensational since coming across from Melbourne Knights. Now here's Kane Shepherd. Olsen, Marzis and Ellis in support. Decides to play it to Olsen. Fala. Olsen. Here's Shepherd. Ellis just behind him, and that will roll through to Hayden Brown's. This game, Lockie, really started to open up a little bit in this second half.
Yeah, it is, and it provides ample opportunity for someone with the pace of Paul Quoll, who is just streamed his way for a number of Burgers markers, and now he can feed the feet of Ben Everson, who we know what he wants to do every time he gets on the ball. Chop his way towards goal and power his right boot through the ball, but Mohamed Aidara was appropriately positioned. And that may continue to creep up, Nick. Obviously, the legs are only going to get heavier for Heidelberg. The football in midweek, 120 minutes of it. And interestingly, Josh Pinn and Sabit Nyor, who started against the Mariners, and in the case of Pinn, scored twice, are both warming up. So that is very interesting to observe.
I think that their number will be called at any moment, Lockie. They're Almost a bit of a mix-up there as Fala switching it out wide. Zara feeding through Marzis, but well played by Castiello to put it out for a throw-in. You just get a sense it's a matter of when, not if. The Heidelberg duo coming onto the field as they chase a big 3 points here. Zara, Fala, hemmed into the corner here. Adara feeding through Theodoropoulos, but couldn't get it through to him, and Hayden Brown collects. And now Manningham look to go back the other way. Quoll, who already went on a mazy run a matter of moments ago, is looking to go again, and a throw in there to Heidelberg. Paul Quoll, his last goal was actually just up the road. He hasn't scored yet for Manningham. His last goal came up at the Venezuela Club earlier this season, playing for Kingston in VPL 1 against Bulleen. As Hayden Brown under pressure there from Kane Shepherd. It's turned over. It almost found its way through to Olsen, but a big intervention by a Cole. And Hayden Brown, who's already had one nervous moment this year, lead to a goal at that end of the ground. Almost another one there, but bailed out by Dower Cole.
Yeah, a Cole to the rescue. As that ball has that just been lost to the gods, Nick? That just went over the fence and disappeared. There is a net behind there, so I imagine someone will be able to retrieve it at some point. But yeah, that was an absolutely crucial intervention from Dower Cole, and the kind of one where you have to make sure you get the ball, because if you miss it in your desperation to try and create the stop and you get the man, then the Burgers, even if they don't score from that phase of play, would be eyeing up a pretty handy chance potentially from a spot kick. So yeah, Hayden Brown is a bit of a lucky man there. They have really struggled to find the back of the net, Heidelberg, away from home this season. They've scored the least goals of any side in the top 6 on the road.
Well, we saw what happened against Moreland City the last time he was here, Lockie, at that end, as we just alluded to, where Manningham were leading 2-1 in the second half, and his clearing ball went straight into Christos Theodorakopoulos, which led to that equaliser. So thankfully for Hayden Brown, the ball didn't end up behind him and in his own net. So Junior Carter just receiving a little bit of treatment there. He's got a lot of strapping on his knee today. Here's Sean Ellis. Chance now for Heidelberg to break. A 3v2 here. He's got Shepherd and Olsen in support. He opts for the former. And it's just a bit too much ahead of Kane Shepherd, who has to retreat to Theodoropoulos. Going to feed it through. Adara brings it under control. Driving towards the byline. Cutting back inside Mo Adara. Here's Shepherd. Feeds it to Ellis, and the shot's blocked. Well defended there by Manningham, and Fala and Ramirez collide, and it's going to be a free kick to Heidelberg, and Alex Castiello down behind play as well. Manningham just opening themselves up a little bit as they're going for this game, and Heidelberg starting to pose a bit of a threat going forward, Lockie.
Again, was just so cool from Mohamed Aidara. Kane Shepherd as well, choosing to lay it off Sean Ellis. Perhaps the Burgers may be just a fraction guilty of playing with their food a little bit too much from that, and letting maybe perfect be the enemy of good, but take nothing away from the block that stopped what was a fizzing drive towards goal from Sean Ellis from Dow Cole again. And you get the feeling, Nick, that if Manningham are to come away from this game with anything in the way of points, or point, this could be the case, Dow Cole should be carried out of Petty's reserve on the shoulders of his teammates.
He's been a very underrated player this year, Lockie. A few of these Manningham players have really gone under the radar. Dower Cole and Junior Carter in particular this year. Alex Castiello, that sort of trident that sits, in the spine there, have been so key for them this year. But injuries and chopping and changing it around him, it hasn't really helped Manningham's case. But just seeing if Alex Castiello is going to be able to continue. He's going to have to exit the field for now, though, Lockie, as we do know Manningham do have Owen Dufton on the bench, who is a like-for-like change if they do require a defender to come on. He is warming up on that far side. Play continues here. The Burgers with possession. Marzis. It's Olsen. So wide there by Carter. Goes to ground, and that's going to be a free kick to Manningham. So the Japanese midfielder did enough there to stop the impact there of Heidelberg's number 21. Still 0-0 here a draw for Heidelberg, and the results continue the way they're looking. Heidelberg will remain in 5th heading into the final day, and if Hume do win,
Yeah, go on.
it means Heidelberg will be resigned, I believe, to a 5th place finish. I don't believe they'll be able to jump either Oakley or Hume, as I do believe, Lockie, there is going to have to be a substitution here for Manningham.
Well, not the only substitution that it looks like we're going to see as well. I just was about to jump in before, Nick, to make the point to you, or point out to you, that I've just seen Sabitanyor place his shin pads in his socks, and he's currently doing some last couple of dynamic stretches, so we might get to see him. And if you're a neutral observer, you should be very excited by the player you're about to see enter the field. You might be a little bit more nervous, though, if you're a Manningham persuasion, particularly because you've just...
Alex Castiello is going to stay on. He's got a noticeable limp, but he's going to soldier on for a bit longer.
Is that buying time for Owen Dufton to come onto the field, or is that I'm okay to continue? I guess time will tell. As Idara has continued to surge his way forward. As this Burgers boa constrictor has just tried to tighten the grip on Manningham in search of the opening goal. Played 10 minutes, nearly 11 in the second half here at Petty's Reserve. Gone an hour almost without a goal. Johnny A's side looking to change that. Lovely through ball for Nicholas Olsen. Brown got a touch en route, so it's going to be a corner for Heidelberg, who have certainly had a handsome spell here after an awakening, I guess, effort from Jose Ramirez just to shock them out of the blocks in the second half.
Well, it does look like now we're probably going to see that change. Lockie Alex Castiello again on the deck. Physio Luke Gallo out there to treat Castiello, and it does look like Owen Dufton is going to be coming on any moment now. So disappointing for Manningham to lose such a key player at this stage of the game. You know, they've been able to keep Heidelberg at bay, and a big part of that has been the performance of Castiello alongside Dower Cole at centre-back.
Yeah, well, the former Heidelberg player has been playing with a bit of a point to prove, the West Australian. It would be a cruel way for his day to come to an end, as you might be able to see on your picture. The Souvlaki smoke is absolutely billowing across the...
Yes.
Well, I hope it's Souvlaki smoke.
Well, we can smell it.
Not something more sinister.
Well, Sindos, of course, is the beautiful caterers here who do some great stuff at the canteen. But there's that change, Lockie. Owen Dufton straight into the action. Alex Castiello off the field. So big out there for Manningham. But also there's a Heidelberg player down as well off the field. Trying to work out who that is, Lockie. That's down.
I think it might be Dom Fowler on the floor, Nicholas.
Need that to get better.
So just an update around the grounds. Avondale have equalised against South Melbourne. The score there is 1-1.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, Nick, with my mathematics. A point actually wouldn't be enough. Avondale need to win that game
To keep their premiership hopes alive?
Yes.
But a draw would be enough for South to wrap up the premiership, of course.
Sorry, I was talking from the perspective of the equalising side.
Yep, so Avondale will stay a point clear of Oakley if this result stays. Oakley still leading 1-0 against Moreland City. Heidelberg still a point behind Hume and 4 behind Oakley on the standings if this result continues. That's why this game is so important. 3 points is massive for the Burgers. They don't want to leave anything to chance heading into the final week, or even to tonight, because Hume obviously do play Altona in the final game of our quadruple header in NPL Victoria on a Saturday. They do play Dandy City next week, who will be desperate to lock in a finals berth after they beat Port Melbourne last night and put themselves in pole position. But there is going to be a change now for Heidelberg. Dominic Fowler will be coming off. It does look like it's going to be a Heidelberg debut for Ethan Sardella. So a very exciting moment here for the youngster, making his Burgers debut for the final 30-odd minutes of this one. Dominic Fowler in a bit worse for wear, and with Heidelberg's fixtures starting to come very much thick and fast in the next few weeks with Australia Cup and finals, the last thing they need is another injury. So you do expect, Lockie, with all these stoppages, we're going to have a mountain of stoppage time at the end of this game. So
yeah, I mean, it's probably been 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We've been stopped for these double a double bubble of injuries in this time alone. But what a great moment this is for Ethan Sardellis, on for his first senior NPL Victoria appearance for Heidelberg. Formerly a Queensland local. He's been on the youth ranks of Gold Coast Knights and Gold Coast United. Onto the field in NPL Victoria. Another great Sean Ellis delivery and a first touch at the second phase for Ethan Sardellis. He's got the good idea early of giving the ball to Sean Ellis. He'll always serve you well in your Heidelberg career. He's played for the Burgers in the pre-season Greek Community Cup. Hasn't even been seen in the Australia Cup. Shepherd. Across to Zara, who's directing the traffic further afield. Sardellis does well again. Theodoropoulos. Ellis couldn't trap the ball. Zara goes toe-to-toe with Qual, and now Shepherd will put it into the path of Anthony Theodoropoulos. But it is a Cole in the way again.
Another player down here for the Burgers, Kane Shepherd, now on the deck. It's the walking wounded out here at Petty's Reserve Lockie.
Well, I can imagine, Nick, obviously amount, volume of football takes a toll on your body, but you do feel it a little bit more on the artificial turf as well, because the surface underfoot is just so firm, particularly at this time of year compared to grass, where the turf can be a little bit softer, mushier because of the rain. Ellis again from the far side corner flag. Can they find the breakthrough, the Burgers? It's dipping into a dangerous area. And Olsen will probe again. Idara at the front post. Here is Shepherd twisting and turning. And he did get the shot away, but he's off for blue body again. Brown collects and can set Qual off in the opposite direction. James Tuntis turns on the Jets, and he's got the beating of Adrian Zara at the first time. It's James Tuntis for Manningham United. But it is the wily veteran who comes up with the stoppage. Will come again through Carter. Tuntis back to Turgut. And that one stopped in its tracks from Georgopoulos, who was a little annoyed either with his teammate himself or a combination of the two. Duffton, he's Manningham's substitute. You can't miss him with the bleach blonde combined with the black undergrowth. It's a distinctive look, that's for sure. Ellis is a long way from home. Idara again, just so cool, calm and collected with Qual on his shoulder. Theodoropoulos on the march. Heidelberg on the move. Marzis is around one with ease. Has he got the beating of a second? The answer is yes, but not quite the third. It did come off the underside of his hand, but Ugur Arslan will allow play to continue. He's trapped under the feet of Carter initially.
Manningham able to steady. Heidelberg getting ready to make a double substitution very soon. It was mentioned about Josh Pitt and Sabit Noor, and it looks like their number will be called at the next available opportunity.
You would be sweating bullets if you're Josh Kakoletsis right now.
Georgopoulos over the top. Got it away. Turgut as well to retrieve the second ball. Zara puts him under his spell, and
What?
which way does the referee point? It's in a Heidelberg persuasion. It's going to be a throw into them, and now the opportunity for a double substitution. So here comes the J-pin, and here comes Savit Noor. Double change in the offing for Heidelberg. Kane Shepherd will be coming off here. Just confirmation of who the other players coming off here. It's not seen the fourth officials board just yet. And this looks like, is that Adrian Zara that's coming off the field?
Yeah, it is. So that's going to be a bit of a positional reshuffle. Burgers, or Zara played out the full game for the Burgers in midweek, so I think that'll send Nicholas Olsen to left fullback, where we've seen him deputise a few times this season in the absence of Adrian Zara. So two massive introductions. Tuntis tries to cut it back. Quoll retrieves, and Everson is at the top of the box, but not on the preferred foot. Scoops it in the direction of Jose Ramirez. And Theodoropoulos is really professional. Marzis has the bursting run of Sabit Nyor further afield. And this is the man that everyone is watching, and he's played it into the path of Josh Pinn, who just pulls his shot. The substitutes nearly combining for instant impact.
Great moment there from the Burgers, and that just goes to show the presence of Pinn and Nyor, what they can do when they get forward. And it's a great little ball through, and Josh Pinn, who is looking for his first goal in the league since that reverse fixture against Manningham, did score a brace in midweek against Central Coast. He's got goals in him. Sabit Nyor, as Lockie mentioned earlier in the broadcast, has made an instant impact at Heidelberg since arriving at the club after a sojourn over in Sweden, previously being at Western United. Brown sending it long. Ball wins the header. Collins, who has been unmoved in the heart of defence today.
What? How? Why not?
There from the Manningham players. They believe they have throwing, but it's going in the Heidelberg direction, and Aslan is just going to have to deliberate for just a moment. And looks like it's been reversed, so it's going to be a Manningham throw.
Got one job.
Protests do pay off from the home side. Just over 20 minutes played in this second half. Still 0-0. Still all to play for these two sides. Two very different goals. Heidelberg looking to put themselves in a position to wrap up a home final. Manningham, their status in NPL Victoria on the line as Tavalla looking for Everson. Well played by Ben Collins again, who has not given Ben Everson an inch all day today.
You good?
Nyor does well to bring it under control. 2v1 here for the Heidelberg number 11, and they throw in there to the Burgers off Marco Tavalla last.
You felt it straight away.
Are under immediate pressure from Junior Carter, and actually might work out here for Manningham. He feeds it out wide. Tuntis came back onto his left, feeds it through to Carter. One on the inside. Junior Carter has given Manningham a shock lead at home. Their hopes of survival are still alive. And Junior Carter with what might be one of the biggest goals in the club's history.
Well, put simply, Nick, that is just a massive Manningham moment right there. Junior Carter stepping up after a brilliant bit of play in the interim, and maybe that is the sign that fatigue is starting to bite Heidelberg, because it was Mohamed Aidara who we've spent this second half praising his consistency, his reliability. He has barely put a single foot wrong in almost 200 minutes of football in the last week, and the first time that he chooses to cough one up, to have a moment that he'd rather forget, Manningham are able to punish him, and punish him brilliantly. Tuntis was fantastic on the right-hand side. He could have fired away from the top of the box, but had the presence of mind, the wherewithal to pick out Junior Carter, who was free as a bird in the middle, and he did the rest, the Japanese midfielder. And all of a sudden, the pressure is on the Burgers, and the race is on as Pinn tries to get the beating of Dower Cole, but Brown across to take out the ball.
So Junior Carter has scored 3 goals this season, Lockie, all at that end of the ground of Petty's Reserve. All have been massive goals when you look at the context of their season. A late equaliser against Green Gully. He gave them the lead against Moreland City a few weeks ago, and now the goal which has Manningham one to the good against Heidelberg. Here's Everson cutting inside. Ben Everson still going, and it's well defended by Sardellis. Of course, now on the live ladder, Manningham are 1 point behind St Albans. They are 3 points behind Green Gully. And those two sides, they lock horns tomorrow at Churchill Reserve. Manningham do win, regardless of the result tomorrow. Technically, even if St Albans do win, Manningham still have a chance, but they need to win really big on the final day and hope that Melbourne Knights can beat Green Gully by a big result as well. And it looks like a substitution, injury enforced change might be on the way here for Heidelberg.
Yeah, and it's not one you want to see if you're John Anastasiadis, because I'm pretty sure it's Anthony Theodoropoulos, and he's not one of the players who has played football recently. Not at all, but as in he wasn't used, I believe, in the game against the Mariners, so he should be one of the freshest players out there, and it's he who has gone down with cramp, and his teammates, Yaron Souza, Ben Collins, they were pretty quick to call for the substitution. They've got two warming up to the Burgers. Asahi Yokokawa is the one currently receiving instruction. Now, what are they going to do positionally here, though? That's the interesting one.
Could Moedara potentially go to fullback?
Yeah, I might be reaching here, Nick, but I have a vague recollection that Asahi Yokokawa has some level of experience as a fullback. I know we haven't had to see it in NPL Victoria this season, but I think that's a position that he's previously played when he was in the side of the Singaporean champions, Albirex Nagata. Sabitnor herring down on the ball and has won it back, but only momentarily off Paul Quoll. Time now the enemy of the Burgers. 20 minutes remaining here at Petty's Reserve. Collins has to defend a bit of a gap, and Nagore is around a couple with these. Beautiful stuff from Sabit and Gore. The pass is a bit overhit for Marsis, and that is boom, crash onto the roof of the...
I think it cleared the roof. I think on the other pitch.
It's a monster from Hayden Brown.
Well, he's taken no chances, Hayden Brown, after what happened against Moreland City, as we spoke about a little bit earlier at the end of the ground. So safety first.
So Heidelberg still playing with 10, trying to take the impetus. Cole clears. That one's kept alive by the back fence, and we will see this substitution now. Anthony Theodoropoulos, his race comes to an end in place of Asahi Yokokawa, the Japanese live wire, who's been quite the signing from Singapore.
He's been a great player this season.
And so how is Johnny A going to move the Magnets? Because it looks as though Yokokawa has dropped straight into the fullback slot. Will they play with three, Heidelberg? Or is that Mohamed Aidara coming across to right back now?
Really not too sure just yet.
I guess we'll find out at the next stoppage of play. Yokokawa, his first touches. Not the best. Quoll. Run and gun over the halfway line and gallivanting forward. They would love the insurance policy, and that is not the worst idea. The switch in the direction of Jose Ramirez, but the execution was not the best. Muir.
Of course, Lockie, if Heidelberg don't win today, or they don't win. A win for Hume, as we've mentioned, locks away.
Great run from Sabitnor, and it's touched forward. And what is the decision here? The final touch off Owen Dufton. So a corner for the Burgers. They have had so many of these today that they haven't been able to get right. And they will need to make one stick eventually if they're going to get themselves level. And that wouldn't even be enough for them, Nick. They want all 3 points today.
Absolutely, because of course then they won't have a home final if they're not able to do that, if results don't go their way tonight. Sean Ellis standing over this corner. Ball whipped into a dangerous position. Collins got ahead to it. It's nodded away there by Georgopoulos, and now Quoll has it out wide to Tuntis. We'll play the 1-2 with Quoll, and getting across to put it out was Marsis. And Heidelberg do enough to snuff out that Manningham attack. Manningham had some games this year at home, though, Lockie, when they have led. They have been susceptible to dropping advantages. We saw what happened against Moreland City here, Port Melbourne Sharks, Melbourne Knights, South Melbourne. They've had a few games here at home, Lockie, where they have led. But as the game has worn on, teams have been able to find a way. So something that George Karkoletsis and his coaching staff will have to be wary of in the final few moments. Everson. Ramirez brings it down with his chest, and the shot's blocked. It comes back out towards Quoll. Here's Carter, the goal scorer. Cole Jopless under immediate pressure, so has to recycle possession at Dower Cole, and he goes to ground, but able to get the ball out from underneath him, and the ball's fed over the top looking for Tuntis, but the flag is up against James Tuntis. It looks like we're going to have a substitution here for Manningham. Looks like it's going to be Kurt Kwaku, their other mid-season signings, who will be coming on here for the Blues, their second change of the game. It's getting confirmation of who will be coming off. It is James Tuntis receiving some treatment. He's on a yellow card as well, Lockie, which of course rules him out for next week's game against Altona. You would think, you know, trying to shore up this result, maybe bring on a more defensive-minded player like Kawaku for James Tuntis isn't too much of a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, George Karkaletsis has been a brave manager this season in the way that he's set up his side to play, and I would say that, you know, looking to sit on your 1-0 lead against this Heidelberg United outfit, where, yes, they've struggled for goals, but they've got so many talented attackers and fresh ones on the field, is a brave call, but I guess time will tell. It probably was ripe, even if they had a bigger advantage, ripe for an extra injection of fresh legs into midfield, but also more to the point in front of that rejuvenated front three for Heidelberg. Let's not forget Yokakara as well. Great first touch, or at least we appreciate the invention. A hot football back to Brown. He doesn't quite get as much of his boot through the wall as he did previously. Nick, can I trouble you for a quick update from Avenger Park?
Still 1-1 at Avenger Park at the moment, so South Melbourne closing in.
Okay, we've got 2 balls on the field at the moment. It's all happening. Sabita Muir has knocked the second ball off the field, so we can continue to play unperturbed. Ellis drops it into the lap of Asahi Yokakawa, who just stops and props and pokes it back to Sean Ellis.
What I could also say is, Lockie, is that Melbourne Victory lead Kingston 4-0.
Wow.
So they're set to not only get promoted, but wrap up the premiership as well.
Pop the cork. It's a promotion party at John Cain Memorial.
Back in the top flight for the first time in 8 years.
Yeah. Will Preston join them? Or will it be Northcote or Western, perhaps, in the final week? That's the question we'll answer. But here, it is Heidelberg asking the question of the Manningham defence. Once again, a Cole, emphatic header. It is back from whence it came. Sardellis to Collins. And they find this extra gear, the Cardiac kids. Sabitnur driving towards the byline, cutting it into the middle. It's begging for a touch. It gets one from Marzis, but not an accurate one. How many more chances like that will the Burgers allow to go begging?
You thought that was the one there. It fell perfectly for Leo Marzis, but he was just a little bit off balance and didn't get his body over it. And another big moment there for the visitors. And Manningham, their defence is looking a little bit open in some key moments, and the fresh legs of Pin, Yokakawa, and you're really starting to impose themselves on this contest. So
I think the other little stat that is lingering over the framework of this game, Manningham, in their 24 NPL Victoria games leading up to this one, have not kept a single clean sheet all year.
Manningham,
yeah.
they kept one.
Oh, they've kept one
against
clean
Avondale.
sheet.
They kept
They've
the
only,
clean sheet, yeah.
of course, the Avondale game. Sorry, my
Apologies for that one. Don't mean to...
No, you're completely right. They've only kept one once. It was here at home, to be fair.
And it was against Avondale, to be fair, as well.
Yeah.
It was not many teams do that.
No. To do it twice against the big fish in NPL Victoria would be a tall task. But at the moment, it's less about what Manningham are doing, more about the profligacy of Heidelberg United. We try once more to open their account. Pin didn't really get his pass right, but it found its intended target eventually through Yokakawa. It is Yokakawa. We know he can hit them. He'll try and turn provider for Nyor, who was just caught on his heels a little bit there. And it won't matter for much because the Burgers will get a corner, much to the disappointment of Marco Tavella, who did leap for the header. It did look, Nick, from our vantage point, as though he actually got a touch, but and a team of referees judging otherwise. And it's taken short and quickly. Muir into a dangerous area, but into the breadbasket of Hayden Brown.
The words there between Owen Dufton and Josh Pinn after a collision there, which is... That's... Junior Carter on the deck there after that mid-air collision.
There's not a lot of time left here at Petty's Reserve.
One thing we do know, though, Lockie, as we spoke about a little bit earlier, is even if there is only 10 minutes left on regulation time, we're expecting a bit of stoppage time for those earlier injuries. So could be in for another additional 5 or 6 minutes of added time. I mean, the last time Manningham were here against Moreland City, there was 7 minutes of added time. So you never know. Aidara under pressure by Kurt Kwaku. Expect that Heidelberg are going to be the side that are going to be more progressive in the final few minutes and looking to put this Manningham team under pressure. As Ben Everson looking to feed through Ramirez. Fedahagic does well. Ohikawa. Collins. Sardellis in his debut for the club. Not so much on that one. Looking for Sean Ellis. Two very opposite ends of the appearance table when it comes to Heidelberg history. Sardellis at appearance number 1. Sean Ellis at the pointy end along with Adrian Zara.
I believe he's the 11th all-time appearance maker for Heidelberg, Sean Ellis.
Incredible.
So he lives in some seriously rarefied air. He's the last person to join the 200 club at Heidelberg before Adrian Zara a fortnight ago. He scored 7 goals in the final 10 minutes of games this season, the Burgers. They are known in Victorian football as the Cardiac Kids, owing to their propensity for late shows over the years. Are we going to get another here at Petty's Reserve? Sean Ellis, very much a Cardiac Kid, but it's a heartbreaking ball. One back well, though, by Aidara. Can he atone for his turnover? He feeds the feet of Sabitanior. And away, up and away by Carter. The aerial challenge won in a commanding fashion by Collins. Touches, important touches from Tavella. And it will be a very deep throw for the visiting side. Taken quickly by Sabitanior. Manningham starting to stack more and more numbers behind the ball. Question of whether Johnny A's outfit can pick the gaps. Sardellis. Yokokawa. Fair bit to aim at in and around the penalty box, but it's back to Sardellis. Those two having a little game between themselves. They just need to push the pace a little bit here, Heidelberg. We know they've played a lot of football, but passing in front of Manningham's back four is not going to trouble them. Olsen drives in field. Can he do it all himself? That's a lovely lead for Yokokawa. Plenty to aim at in the middle. It's cut back. It's off the hand of Ellis. It comes to naught for Heidelberg again in the box.
Very nervous moment again there for Manningham, but key moment there, that handball, which has just bailed them out in a key moment, because right now the Burgers are starting to turn the screws just a little bit. And these last few minutes are going to feel like an absolute eternity for the home side. They are to come away with a win. They'll be 1 point behind St Albans on the ladder, who are in action tomorrow against Green Gully. Final day next Sunday in NPL Victoria. We'll see Manningham head on the road to take on Altona Magic, who could still be playing for finals. I believe that they're, actually, as a result of Dandy City's win last night, they actually won't be leaving on the dead rubber for the Magic, but nonetheless, it'll be a tough fixture for the Blues. Heidelberg, they take on Dandy City at home, who'll be looking to lock up 6th spot on the ladder. Heidelberg yet to lose at home this season. As Collins looking for pin. Brown coming off his line, a spill at the back, and Dufton clears it out for a throw-in. Again, a nervous moment. But Manningham repel for now. Here's Collins. Blue shirts everywhere behind the ball. Collins, beautiful pass. Here's Marzis. Muir across the face. It needs a touch from Pin. It falls to Marzis, and it's saved by Hayden Brown. A big stop there from the Manningham shot stopper. But again, Heidelberg put the pressure on.
At least like
The precious seconds off the clock for the home side.
It would have been an absolutely delightful team move that Heidelberg was stringing together. Leo Marzis, not for the first time. Just hasn't been able to catch it when the moments have arrived. He has had the goal at his mercy. He's fired off target, and when the shots have been on goal from him, they've usually been right into the body of Hayden Brown and have been fairly easy to deal with. It's going to be a shot count that will not make for easy reading for John Anastasiadis if Heidelberg were to go down today. And it is a bit of a familiar sign, or a familiar sight rather, as we mentioned, of their goals scored this season. Only 36% of them have come on the road. It would be their 500th goal in NPL Victoria. And it would be such an important one if they can find it, but that is a poor cross from Sabit Muir. You can see he is not best pleased with his own work.
Spoken about the importance of this game from a Manningham perspective ad nauseum today, but really for Heidelberg as well, we have sort of hinted at is not being able to play a home final, Lockie.
Well, if there is any team who needs a home final, and you're getting the evidence arguably today, who needs a home final, it's Heidelberg United. They lost once there across all competitions. That includes Australia and Doherty Cup in the past 500 days. It's one of their best runs at the Village in nearly 40 years.
It's incredible.
They need the points because they want to play as many games at the Village as is humanly possible, particularly now that the grand final isn't going to be there anymore. Up and over the top from Quoll to Everson. A little bit laboured, but Collins again does fantastically well. Dufton couldn't keep it in play for Quoll. We get into the final 5 minutes of regulation time. Start to turn our attention to Puya Gadiri and how much stoppage he will inject into this game. Pin is scrapping with Dufton, heading to the turf, and Ugo Arslan obliges with the whistle. And again, the scoreboard attendant has been a late starter in the second half at Petty's Reserve, because it looks as though we have actually elapsed the 90, and 8 minutes have been added on at Petty's Reserve. That is not the number that those of a Manningham persuasion would want to see, and it's enough time that if Heidelberg score from this free kick, they would still fancy themselves of maybe taking all 3 points. But it all rests in the delivery of Sean Ellis. He's been good with his free kicks today so far. He will need to be once again.
Strong.
Ellis's delivery in, held by Quoll. There's a few questions of tunnelling against Sean Ellis. Kuaku just pokes it forward. That's good stuff from the substitute. Tavella ran into trouble and Marzis was able to pick his pocket. Collins. Oh, how good is the composure from the young central defender. That is fantastic work. And the Burgers numbers have stayed forward. Olsen looking to drive it on goal. Knocked away again by Dowler Cole. A ceiling goal would cue some jubilant scenes for Manningham. How much of a rush are they in it, or in to actually go and get one? Turgott. Off the face of Olsen. Committed to the cause. Any body part will do if it creates a stoppage. And now Pin is marching forward. Could he be the hero for the Burgers again? Short for Ellis. Marzis, heavy touch, a laboured touch on the top of the box. Ellis again. These are tense moments. The final knockings at Petty's Reserve. Yokokawa. Cole's clearance was into a Risky position, but it fell at the feet of Paul Quall. Lots of fortune for Manningham. And Quall has his markers for pace. And Collins finally makes a mistake that allows Quall extra possession, an extra second shoot away. Paul Quall again. Muir back to cover.
Good, get on the ball.
Staring down the barrel of a massive result on Manningham. They can almost reach out and touch it, but the Burgers, we will imagine Nick will have something else to say about it in the final few minutes.
Can Heidelberg break Manningham hearts here? Can they find an equaliser? Olsen looking to push the pace from defence. Plays the 1-2 with Marzis.
Yes, good.
Big challenge from Kwaku, but it still ends up at the feet of Olsen. Shooting one way, back the other. Kwaku leapfrogs over him and clears it away. Here's Quall. Gets around Collins. Quall. Has Everson in support. Feeds it through to Ben Everson. And he just couldn't get it out from underneath him. It's almost waiting for the flag to go up against him, but the Englishman had timed his run to perfection. And the Burgers can clear again. Paul Quall on the deck. But Heidelberg will not stop the play. They're going to continue. Ben Collins to Sabit Nyor. Kwaku comes to support Tavalla and gets a key foot in. Tavalla looking to clear straight back to Sabit Nyor. Goes right at his man. And he's crossed straight into the grateful arms of Hayden Brown, and Manningham can take a few more seconds off the clock. Nervous moments here.
Seriously nervous moments, and nervous for Paul Quall, who's come up with cramp late in this game. Chewed up some great seconds, minutes even, here at Petty's Reserve, and they've got, have had players on the turf at both ends. It's Tavalla now who's feeling the pinch.
So we've played about 4 minutes of added time, Lockie. We're only about halfway through. There's still so much time.
A fair chunk of time. David Marabu on the bench. He's ready to come onto the field. Looks like Jose Ramirez, interestingly, is the player who's going to come off.
More precious seconds off the clock here for Manningham as new signing from Northcote City will come on for the final minutes to add a little bit of extra steel in the middle of the park. Jose Ramirez has put in a big shift today, and the captain will be withdrawn. So you think that they'll add this time back on, though, so as much as it's seconds off the clock, it's still going to have to be a little bit of defending to do in the final few moments as Hayden Brown gets ready to restart play.
Josh Pinn not happy with the delay work from Hayden Brown. There we go, we are back underway now. Pinn is still asking the question. Brown collects. I reckon this one is only going one place. Yeah, there it is, the big kibosh up and under from Hayden Brown, as far and as high as he can get it. But unfortunately not to a teammate, Olsen. Marzis to Ben Collins. Sabit Nyor. Not quite had the impact as yet. And that pass is a poor one. Marabu picks up the pieces. Doesn't have any runners further afield, so just has to hesitate and bide his time. Junior Carter has left that one short. And Pinn now is on the march. Yokokawa can return the favour. This might be the moment for Josh Pinn, cutting it into the middle. It's there! The Cardiac Kids have done it again.
Just go forward!
Third time's the charm for Leo Marzis. It is a bitter pill to swallow for Manningham, but the Burgers are back late in the game.
Absolute heartbreak for the home side, but a massive, massive moment there for Heidelberg, and a beautiful finish there from Leo Marzis. He's had opportunities earlier in the game, but he took it at the most important of moments in this contest, and now we've played about 6 minutes of added time, and you have to wonder, is there time still for another twist, Lockie? But God, that is an absolute gut punch for Manningham and their hopes of survival. That gap extends to 3 points behind St Albans, and those of the Dinamo and Green Gully persuasion would be breathing a major sigh of relief. Moarabu, can Manningham still find a winner? There's still enough time. Here's Owen Dufton.
Run,
to Qual.
Overlap, Marco.
Tavella offering in support. Feeds it through. Tavella. Crosses the poor one. And it's out for a goal kick.
Back in, Marco, come on.
And a huge moment there for Manningham. And Heidelberg going to play this quickly. Collins. Route one pass towards Sabitnor. Dufton wins the header. Marzis.
Just drop it to him and go. Just drop him.
And it's out for a throw. Still, a point will be better than none for Manningham, but considering when they led in this game and how much time was remaining, it would be an absolute gut punch for the second straight home game to leave 2 points on the table. Moarabu looking to feed through the goal scorer card, but he's offside. Flag is up against the Japanese midfielder.
Is there one last roll of the dice for the Burgers? Yokokawa, and it's stolen off him like a thief in the night by Kurt Kuaku. Is there time for one last chance? They couldn't work the give and go, Junior Carter and David Moarabu, that time around. Seconds remain at Petty's reserve. It's delivered on late drama. Will Heidelberg find a way to snatch all 3 points? Can the Blues break back? It's Idara. There's numbers aplenty further afield. It's Sean Ellis. Can he be their magic man again? Can you believe what we're seeing at Petty's reserve? 2 stoppage time goals in the space of as many minutes. And somehow, someway, Johnny A's Burgers have pulled it out of the fire.
The Cardiac Kids strike again. Their hopes of a home final still alive. But it is absolute heartbreak for Manningham. They are staring down the barrel of a return to VPL 1. Conceding a second goal in second half stoppage time. But it's utter jubilance for the Burgers.
I mean, the nerves would have been so extreme for Manningham, but that's just incredible, Nick. Even with 8 minutes of stoppage, I thought the Burgers were playing for a point and nothing more. That they've come up with 2 goals in stoppage time is just remarkable. A Cole giving chase effectively. Back to Qual. Surely not. Feels like it's at the generosity of Ugar Arslan now. But I thought the Burgers were absolutely cooked, Nick. I thought if they took a point away at the start of stoppage time, they'd be chuffed. Now they're staring down the barrel of a win. And Yokokawa, I believe, got the final touch. But it was a real scrapper in the centre. And the Burgers have pulled off one of their great escapes. A fate that looks so unlikely as Puya Gadirian's 4th official board rose high at Petty's reserve. But year after year, this Burgers side show that they're made of special stuff. Knocking out the A-League champions in midweek. And it was a performance of champions at Petty's reserve. From both sides, really. Manningham were fantastic, and they were good value for their lead. And good value for what on any other day, Nick, could well have been a win. Could well have been a vital point. This is a club in Victorian football that do not know when they are beaten.
What a win, and that sort of sums up the Heidelberg sort of mantra that's been there. Even before John Anastasiadis came in this year, it was there under George Katsakis, which has brought him so much silverware over the years. But that's a massive moment. This is a moment in Heidelberg's season we could look back on and say, if they're able to get a home final from here, this is the game that we look back on. If they're able to go on a run from here because they're able to lock in a home final, that'd be absolutely massive. But for Manningham, Lockie, it's just utter heartbreak. It is utter heartbreak. They were in such a good position to keep their hopes alive. Now, look, we must stress, we don't know how many teams are going down. We don't know whether there'll be 1 or 2 teams going down at the end of this season. But that is just such a bitter pill to swallow, because Manningham have, this season, they have thrown their best punch time and time again. They have been right there. They have, as they've shown today, been able to test it against the best. But it might not be enough. It might be a return to VPL 1 football. But I tell you what, they've gone down swinging.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as we said, on any other day, this could have been a very different result for Manningham United and George Karkalets' side. It didn't have the goal fest that we've become accustomed to at Petty's Reserve, but it still delivered in its chaos. And it is Heidelberg who reign victorious. It will be a pill to swallow for the Blues that will, I feel like, gulping down a boulder. It's a tough one to take. That is the drama, both good and bad, of NPL Victoria football. And it is sweet success in the Cup and the League for Heidelberg United. We leave you with jubilant scenes against the fence from Heidelberg and their travelling supporters. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't convincing, but the Burgers managed to find a way in the penultimate week of 2024. The full-time score here at Petty's Reserve: Manningham United 1, Heidelberg United 2.
George, keep going. Well, let's see what happens anyway.